So because it's going to be Purim soon, and I'm already planning my costume, I have some stuff to read today from a pamphlet called Experience Purim. Dear friend, Purim celebrates God's intimate involvement in every aspect of this world. Purim, by the way, is on March 6th and 7th, the 14th of Adar, 6 to 7, because it starts in the evening. Even though there were no overt miracles recorded in the Megillah, indeed his name is not even mentioned once, God was actively pulling the strings to care for his nation. Contrary to his evil plans, Haman's edict catalyzed a spiritual revival among the Jews, even more significant than the covenant at Sinai. Unlike the overwhelming spiritual experience of Sinai, the Purim story compelled the Jews to accept the Torah of their own volition, even as they were scattered among the Persian people and immersed in their culture. It was in the merit of this spiritual reawakening that God orchestrated their salvation. Purim is a fantastic celebration for young and old, and this guide, we hope, will inspire, motivate, and enhance your merriment. It contains a story of Purim and its messages, instructions for the holy holiday customs, a great recipe, and more. This year, Purim is especially joyous, and Temple Times gathering would take place every 7 years called Hakel, assemble. The entire Jewish nation, adults, children, infants, and elderly would go up to Jerusalem to be inspired and invigorated by the King of Israel. It was a statement of unity and purpose to refocus a diverse people. Though our temple does not stand, the people, you and I, still do. In the tradition of Hakel, let us recreate that unity this Purim and rejoice in our Jewishness together. They offer a Megillah reading if you're in Brooklyn. At 770 Eastern Parkway. It will be, you can go to lubavitchyouth.org/Purim, and you can find out more. You can also call 718-953-1000. This is the mitzvah to hear the Megillah. So it's going to be Monday night, March 6, 2023, and Tuesday morning, March 7, 2023. Now, it's a lunar calendar that I'm giving the corresponding solar, or sometimes called Gregorian calendar dates. So, joy, a message based on the teachings of the Lubavitch Rebbe. The Talmud says that one should celebrate on Purim until he doesn't know the difference between cursed be Haman and blessed be Mordechai. There are many types of joy. The joy of the mitzvah, for we're commanded to serve God with joy. We enhance a mitzvah when we perform it joyously, and our action is more alive than a mitzvah performed mechanically. Another joy is found in the mitzvah to rejoice in our festivals. Here, the rejoicing is a mitzvah in its own right. Still, that we need to be told to rejoice indicates this is not the ultimate joy. King Solomon speaks of a greater joy. Joy as a state of being rather than an activity. This joy is experienced in the month of Adar, for when Adar commences, joy increases. One who is attuned to the spiritual essence of Jewish times instinctively rejoices when entering the month of joy. Still, this is a conscious joy. The fact that a person is aware that he's rejoicing indicates his joy is an assumed state rather than an intrinsic condition. The ultimate joy, however, can be attained on Purim, when the Jew celebrates until he doesn't know. The joy of Purim saturates the soul of the Jew so thoroughly that no part of him is removed from the experience. There's nothing in him to stand apart and observe this joy because his whole essence is wrapped up in the experience of rejoicing. These are the mitzvahs of Purim. 1. Listen to the Megillah. Megillah Esther is Esther's and Mordechai's first-hand narrative of Haman's plot and how he miraculously vanquished, miraculously vanquished. We actually listened to the Megillah twice, once in the evening and once in the day of the Jewish the lunar calendar date. However, the corresponding dates, as I mentioned, was Monday night, March 6th, and Tuesday, March 7th. It says, try not to miss a word. It's an interactive event. Every time you hear Haman's name, use a grogger, which is a noisemaker. It could be a tube of beans, like a toilet paper roll with something glued on both sides, and then you shake it full of beans, shaker. Could be a tambourine, could be something that stomps. Anyway, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Those little tambourines that go around when you stomp your foot, the tambourine goes. Or you could just hit your feet, stamp your feet to drown out the sound of his evil name. 2, eat a festive meal. during the day of March 7, celebrate with a festive, joyous meal. Traditional foods of this literature include kreplach, stuffed dumplings, and fruit or nut-filled hamantashen, which is a type of cookie made in a triangle. The hidden fillings in both foods remind us of God's hidden yet ever-present involvement in the Purim episode. In fact, the name of God isn't even mentioned in Megillas Esther. 3, send gifts to a food. Purim is a time to celebrate Jewish unity and friendship. We send packages containing at least 2 different kinds of ready-to-eat food. For example, a fruit and something like pastry, or a drink and a vegetable. They have to be different kinds to at least one person, one friend. Men give men, women give women. And these gifts, Mishloach Manos, are not delivered by a child, are often delivered by a child or friend, expanding the circle of joy. 4, give to the poor. Giving tzedakah, charity, a year-round obligation is particularly special mitzvah on Purim. Give charity to at least 2 needy individuals on Purim day, ideally by giving directly to the person. If this is not possible, place at least 2 coins in 2 different charity boxes. On the Shabbat before Purim, which is March 4, next weekend, we read the Torah portion of Parshas Zachar, which tells of how Haman's ancestors, the nation of Amalek, brazenly attacked the Jewish people after a spectacular exodus from Egypt. Though most nations were in awe of the miracles they'd witnessed, Amalek poked holes in the aura of reverence and replaced it with cynicism and mockery. The Torah instructs us all to erase memory of Amalek. Within ourselves, Amalek represents a cold rationality which inhibits awe or excitement. Destroying our inner Amalek allows us to achieve a meaningful relationship with God and His Torah and mitzvos. As in the Jewish tradition, the people in the times of Purim prepared themselves for battle with repentance, prayer, and fasting. To commemorate this, we fast on the day before Purim, which is Monday, March 6th, from approximately 2 hours before sunrise until 40 minutes after sunset. To commemorate the half shekel contributed by each Jew during the month of Adar in the time of the Holy Temple, it's a tradition to give 3 silver $50 coins to charity. This is usually performed in the synagogue on the day we observe the fast of Esther, which is Monday. On Purim, Monday, March 6th. On Purim, the Al Hanisim liturgy is recited in the Amidah for evening, morning, and afternoon prayers. Al Hanisim liturgy is special words about how the miracle happened. In addition, during the morning prayer service in the synagogue, there's a special reading from the Torah. The Purim story tells the courage of Esther, Mordechai, and the Jewish people then and now. The year is 365 BCE. The Holy Temple in Jerusalem is destroyed, the Jewish nation conquered, and for almost 70 years dispersed in foreign lands. The prophesied end of exile has not yet materialized, and the blight of assimilation has begun to set in. Gradually, a series of events unfold, and characters are moved into place. A king celebrating his kingship with decadent parties. A defiant queen is executed. A Jewish queen, Esther, is chosen against her will and hides her faith. Her uncle Mordechai uncovers an assassination plot. Into the scene strides Haman, a descendant from the Jew-hating tribe of Amalek. He devises a scheme to annihilate every single Jew in the kingdom in a single day. Haman's plans fall into place, but Mordechai frustrates him. A descendant of King Saul, he senses the anger and identifies it as a wake-up call from God. During donning sackcloth and ashes, he sits at the palace gates, crying aloud and rallying the Jews to return to God and His Torah. Queen Esther calls for Mordechai, but he sends a message that she must go to the king and plead for her people. Officially in disfavor, Esther fears entering the king's presence, but sees no other choice. She undertakes a 3-day fast of penitence and calls upon the whole Jewish people to do the same. She approaches the king miraculously. Favor is granted. Private dinner parties are thrown. The king promises Esther heart's desire, and she exposes Haman's plot, which is dramatically superseded by the king. This is a story of the great courage and self-sacrifice, not only of Esther and Mordechai, but of all the Jewish nation. The whole. While the terrifying decree hung over them, not a single Jew chose to convert, even to save his life. Together, the people heeded Mordechai and returned wholeheartedly to Torah, mitzvot, strengthening their faith and observance. In this merit, they were able to rise up and destroy their enemies on the 13th of Adar, the very day scheduled for Haman's massacre. The turnaround had begun. The Jewish people would soon leave exile, return to the Holy Land, and rebuild the temple. 1 of the Purim mitzvot is to read the Megillah scroll of Esther, which recounts the miracle. The Talmud tells us that one who reads the Megillah backward doesn't fulfill his obligation regarding the Megillah. Reading the Megillah backward is not only literal. It also means reading it as ancient history. To quote the Megillah itself, when we celebrate Purim each year, the miraculous events are remembered and reenacted in our lives. One who reads the Megillah strictly as a historical retrospective has missed the point. The Purim story is directly relevant to our contemporary world. By fulfilling the special mitzvot of Purim, we reaffirm our commitment to the eternal value of the Torah. We share in the very merit that redeemed the Jewish people in the days of Mordechai and Esther. May we merit to see our redemption revealed today. And this is the Jewish year of 5783, the year of Hakel.